I'm Anna Caughron, and I am here with Carissa Holton. Carissa is a rock star agent. She's been in the industry for like 6 years.
Yep.
And we've brought her on the podcast today to talk a little bit about the difference between a solo agent, kind of traditional approach, and then a team approach. And Carissa has an awesome story. So why don't you just start talking to us about who you are and how you ended up in this business?
Okay. I'm a mom of 4 kids and was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. I worked in another industry before I decided to go into real estate. I worked in the moving and estate sale business, and so saw another side kind of real estate, helping prepare people to sell their homes. But then in 2016, kind of had a shakeup in our home a little bit. My husband was changing jobs, and I felt the need to go back to full-time work. Mm-hmm. I had worked as a trainer for Dale Carnegie for Tent Makers Youth Ministry in my 20s and 30s, and so had that background, but then mostly had been a stay-at-home mom. And so in 2016, I took my real estate classes, passed, and started working for another company, actually, where I was a solo agent here in the Cedar Valley for 3 years.
Yeah, and you were a great agent from the get-go. So you were successful in both arenas. And so either one is right or wrong. If you're listening to this as a solo agent or a team agent, like this model, it's more of a personal choice, right? Mm-hmm. Like I often talk with other agents from other companies, and you flourish in one or the other.
Yep.
And so it's not a choice of which one's right. It's more which one fits best for your family. But you did kind of make a switch in a time frame where the market was shifting a little bit. So talk to us about kind of what drew you to kind of question which way you wanted to move.
Yeah, I had built my business actually as a solo agent on open houses, which was awesome. I worked for a very big company, had a lot of opportunities to host open houses for other listing agents. And then in very short time, in a very short 3-year time span, the market started to shift. You could feel a shift in the market. Many of the listing agents were starting to hold their own opens again, just because they needed to fill their pipeline. I was getting to the point where I was probably going to have to pay for some sort of lead generation, either through Zillow or Realtor.com, and was really exploring what does the next phase of my career look like, because the way I had built my business, I don't want to say it wasn't working. It was starting to shift. And then was presented with an opportunity with the Amy Wienan's team. Mm-hmm.
And with that piece, and again, I've been with Amy for a long time, and there was a point when I was with her that we were traditional agents too.
Sure, yeah.
And I get that, like, you carry a lot of the burden of like your business, right? Because each one of us, even when you're on your team, your business is still yours.
Right.
But you carry this like real, in ways heavy, in ways exciting. Yeah. So it's not like it's a bad thing, but in ways it's heavy because it's like, which way should I move? Where should I invest? How should I grow this? Because there's so many different ways that you can do it. And so it kind of felt like at that point, it was like you wanted to share that with other people versus be
an independent agent. I mean, I had a great support system at the other company that I worked for. But at the same time, I just felt this need just for myself personally that I needed more accountability. Mm-hmm. And not that I couldn't create my own structure, but sometimes it's really easy not to, some days to do the next call or to knock on another door or whatever that may be, whatever it may look like. And I just felt like I needed the accountability piece and the piece that helped me carry some of the business for me.
So when you made that switch and you came over here, what did you find to be a benefit for you, whether that affected your personal life or your business? Like, talk me through what you found when you came and joined our team.
Yeah, transaction coordinators was a huge piece for me. It was kind of an eye-opening piece for me because in the past I had usually taken care of all my paperwork, emails, phone calls to the title companies, listing agents. Not that I don't communicate with them now, but I also have somebody else in my corner that's watching all of those details for me and with me. That was huge. it was a hard transition for me to give that up.
I
still find myself sometimes I'll tell Ryan, who's my transaction, I'll say to him that, oh, I already took care of that and I already sent that off. And so it's good. It works. And he doesn't care when I do that.
Right.
But it's just communicating that with him, that it's already been taken care of. But he keeps me accountable. He keeps me on top of things. And he has freed me up to, and Lindsay too, they have freed us up to work with more clients.
Right. It kind of creates capacity.
It does.
That you're able to carry more.
Yep.
While still, because you're a mom of 4 kids, like you said, like there's a lot that you still are responsible for and want to show up for at home.
Yep.
So it does create capacity when we share in the heavy lifting of real estate.
Yep. The other piece for me was the ongoing training that we do as a team. I like the open dialogue that we have on a daily basis, especially in the markets that we've had since 2020. You know, that was huge that we were able to continue to work throughout COVID. But we also had to change some things up. And I think our team did a really good job of navigating through kind of a difficult time for people. I mean, people were still actively moving, wanted to move. And so it was just figuring out how that looked different
For sure.
during that time. But since then, the market has been active. And so us just dialoguing, how do we move through this active market and help our buyers secure the properties that they love, has been a huge benefit to me as an agent, but also being able to share stories with my buyers of what I'm seeing happening.
Right. And like you said, since COVID happened, all the way back, rewind to 2020, I feel like ever since then, our market has required us to shift, pivot, turn.
Yeah.
New approach here, switch it up. Now we're going this way.
Yep.
And to do that on your own, even though in other offices, you do have friends, like you mentioned, you had a support system. But when we were getting together so frequently, I felt like, to me, that felt safe. I wasn't doing it alone.
Yep.
And I would learn from, like, we joke a lot, like, if someone stubs their toe on something, like, there's no reason we all need to stub our toe. Let's all talk about how, hey, this happened. Next time, let's avoid this. So we carry it together in a way that does feel less lonely.
And we celebrate each other. You know, that's been one of the coolest things, as we joke around with each other, yes, but we also celebrate each other's victories. But when we all go through that,
the roller coaster
of real estate, and sometimes there's downturns and it's tough, and we walk each other through those tough times.
Yeah. We've so appreciated you joining our team too, because as an experienced, mature agent, successful, before you arrived at our team, you immediately came and take like a mentor role.
Thank you.
I mean, given, I think it's a mom thing too, but you kind of feel like a mom to some of our agents. They know that, like, hey, I can ask Carissa anything, and she's so willing to help. But I think that the mature piece of real estate too, like you've experienced, that like no matter, and Amy's the same way, no matter how long you've been in this business, something's going to happen that we're like, I've not been here before. And so you're that for a lot of people, but then at the same time, we do that for each other.
Definitely. I mean, I have to always be willing to learn. I think we all do. I think that's how you stay successful, not only in real estate, just in whatever your career path is. It's that love of learning and continual learning that helps you continue to move forward. As times change, you change with it. But if we're not willing to be open and learn and think we have all the answers, we kind of dry up pretty quickly.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Talk to me a little bit about why you love real estate, because we have reviews from your clients. They love you. So what is it that wakes you up and says, I want to keep doing this every day? Why do you love this career?
The relationships that I get to build with my clients. I had some clients tell me recently that at closing, they said, they really become part of your family, don't they? Or we do. And I do feel like that with my clients. I want them to feel that way. My goal in real estate has always been to make the transaction as smooth and as easy as possible. And so when there's bumps along the way, I try to make those as easy for them as possible. and, talk them through some of the tough issues that we might have to face, because we do.
Right.
Every transaction is different, and some you hit a snag, but you work through it.
For sure. Like you love your clients. Like I feel like you really connect with them on a personal level. Like it becomes more than just that transaction.
Yep.
You really fight for them.
Yep, I do. And I think a lot of agents out there feel the same way that I do, that they become part of your life, and you do want to look out for them. You do want to fight for them. Mm-hmm. That's part of my job.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I got into real estate, you probably the same thing. Like you knew you were going to deal with people, but you think like, well, it's about houses, right? And you see those HGTV shows, which lots of people love to watch. But the reality is it's not really that much about the property.
No.
I mean, we have to be knowledgeable and experts, and we have to help them through the process. But it's really about people.
Yeah.
We're moving people.
Yeah.
And you do such a great job of doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so thankful to have you.
Thankful. Well, I'm thankful to be on this team.
Yeah.
It stretches me and helps me grow every day in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that if we, like we talked about earlier, we can kind of do it together.
Yep.
It makes you like on those tough days, you still are excited to come in because someone's going to help you through it.
Yep.
Or we make phone calls to each other all the time.
Yep.
And how do you think I should handle this? Or like, help me do this. And I think that when real estate gets hard or heavy, that team approach is really a way that you cannot feel like the mountain is so high.
Yep. I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. And I love, another thing I love about the team approach is there's so many different personalities, like anywhere. And so you get to see a gamut of different people doing their business differently. I mean, we're still independent agents, right, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to see how they handle certain issues that may come up or how they talk to their clients. I learn a lot from them every day, just listening.
Yeah. And that's what I think is great too, is not one way is right.
No.
And if you're surrounded by people who walk in integrity and care to be a servant, right? Like that we're really there to serve the people we're privileged to work with, any approach works. And so sometimes it's like, hey, help me think through this. How do I convey this? Or how do I better help them find the right fit? I'm just missing the mark. And having each other kind of say, well, why have you tried this?
Yeah.
Or what if you say this?
Yep.
And that is so beneficial. And you do that a lot too for not only our newer, younger agents, but anybody that's on our team.
Well, I think the key word that you hit on is serve. When you have kind of that servant mentality, not only with each other that you work with every day, but the buyers that I get to meet every day and my coworkers get to meet every day, that changes the whole dynamic.
For sure. And we're serving each other and we're serving the client.
Yep.
So to kind of close things up, let's give people a tip. Like if you want to make your business as successful as yours has been, what do you think are some of the key things that you do to help keep your business strong?
Not being afraid to make that last phone call. Ask another question. I know you challenged us a few weeks ago about at open houses or whenever you're with somebody face to face is to ask that one more question. And when you can push and ask that one more question, a lot of times it opens up a door where you may get to work with that individual. So that's a key. Just not, and get out of your own way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we're in our own heads and we're maybe afraid to step out. I know I'm sometimes afraid to step out, but just get out of your own way and be willing to be vulnerable.
That's a good key.
Yep.
They want to work with somebody who's real.
Yep.
And is willing to kind of be emotional with them.
Yep.
Where it's not just a transaction.
Yep.
You're great at that.
And I'm human too.
Right.
And I'm going to make mistakes.
Right. And I think too, the thing about you, I would say you're very persistent. You're not going to just be like, oh shoot, the market's whatever
right.
adjective you could say that day. You're never the victim of kind of what's going on. You'll go knock a neighborhood to find, you send out letters. If your client wants a house in a certain neighborhood, you will like go knock on those doors to find an opportunity. You'll send postcards out. You will really pursue things because you're not going to just be a victim to what's happening,
Yep.
you're really a go-getter that way.
So you might see me at your door.
That's right. That's right. But I think knowing that we jokingly say sometimes it's a contact sport, you have to talk to people. And so asking that one more question, you're super involved in your community, you're involved in your kids' activities and your school, and you really seek to genuinely like know people.
Yep.
And that creates a great reputation for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today. That was a little glimpse into kind of Carissa's story and why she chose to join our team and her approach to real estate and how she's been so successful. So hopefully you picked up some great tips and you're off to implement. So have a great day.